WFYI podcasts are brought to you by Indy Softwater, performing service and repairs on over 30 brands of water systems, plus iron and well filtration systems for residential and commercial properties. Includes water tests conducted on-site, providing real-time information about the water quality. The softest, cleanest water begins with Indy Softwater. More at indysoftwater.com.
WFYI podcasts are brought to you by Visit Bloomington, Indiana, where Hoagie Carmichael, Booker T. Jones, and John Mellencamp impacted the city and helped it become a music destination. Bloomington is home to a variety of musical artists, live music venues, and hundreds of annual music events. More information at musicbloomington.com. This is Small Studio Signal Boost from WFYI. I'm Melissa Davis, your host tonight, along with co-host Adam Gross. This evening, we continue our 10-year anniversary celebration of Small Studio Sessions, with a listen back to performances from Public Universal Friend and Co-Newborn. We'll also hear new music from Bless, Latrell, Spring Term, and more. Stay with us for an hour of new music from Indiana-based artists, here on Small Studio Signal Boost. First, let's listen to a song from a supergroup of Indianapolis-based talent, Bless, or if you look the band up, 81355. Bless has a new single from their upcoming album. Tonight, we'll listen to Fire Over Me from the upcoming LP Bad Dogs. Joyful Noise Recordings says the track initiates a more collaborative approach to Bless's recording process and the LP's overall production. For the first time, the project's live band is part of the production and joins Sean Oreo Jones, Sirius Black, and David Moose Adamson, with Charlene Birdsong on bass guitar.
Yay,
our
Charlene.
former co-host Charlene.
Yeah.
She's so cool. Well, she's playing bass guitar, Dimitri Morris is on guitar, and Pat Ockerson on drums. Let's listen to our cool former co-host Charlene Birdsong on bass with Bless. This is Fire Over Me, here on Small Studio Signal Boost.
Chasing diamonds, hung up out my bed. Time to go get this bread. But I stay riding, watching my tires tread. Them boy might be fed. Close my eyes, I'm seeing it bloody red.
You're tuned to Small Studio Signal Boost from WFYI. I'm Melissa Davis with Adam Gross. Coming up, we'll hear Small Studio Sessions as we celebrate 10 years of the series. But first, Adam, what's happening in the world of Indiana music this week?
Well, I have a couple new tracks to get to, but before that, I want to give a shout out to Bless. If you're heading out to the East Coast, they're going on tour at the end of next month, so Exciting stuff for them, yeah.
Nice.
So up first, I have a new single from Indiana artist Latrell. This is a collaboration with Clutch Boy Kuma. Back in January, our colleague Kyle Long did an interview with Latrell on Cultural Manifesto. You can find that on the Cultural Manifesto podcast, and Latrell was gracious enough to send us along a voice note talking a little bit about the making of this song.
Hi, this is Latrell, and I am so excited to share with you my new single, Bad, which is a collaboration with the brilliant Clutch Boy Kuma, also featuring my bandmate Garrett Lange Bartles. We built this track together on shared chemistry and a pull toward the hypnotic. You'll hear gritty textures, seductive tones, a beat that grabs hold. It's moody, it's sexy, it's also confrontational. Underneath the swagger, there's something deeper. Bad holds up a mirror to those who turn their own repression into control. It's about this political moment that we're inside of. It's a taunt, invitation, and a reckoning all at once. So turn it up. This is Bad by Clutch Boy Kuma and Latrell.
When you look in my eyes just a little, do you feel inside just a little? You're running scared.
That was Bad from Latrell and Clutch Boy Kuma. Up next, I have one from a band called Spring Term. I went to Bloombox recently, which is held at the Harrison Center.
Yeah.
Art festival, maker festival, and music festival. Super fun time. And I just happened to stumble upon this band, and holy moly, they're so good.
That's great.
It's always interesting when you see a band or hear of a band, and they're like super popular on Spotify, and they're playing big shows, and you're like, wow, how was I under a rock on this for a while. So this is from their new EP, Kiddo, Volume 2. It's Spring Term with Pellegrino.
We could get a table by the window. Daylight coming through the glass windows. Talk about whatever.
That was Spring Term with Pellegrino. You're tuned to Small Studio Signal Boost, and we're listening to new music from Indiana-based artists. Melissa, you have one more before we take a quick break?
Yeah, later in the show tonight, we're going to hear a small studio session from Indianapolis-based Co Newborn. But I thought it would be cool to also hear what the multi-talented Indianapolis-based musician is up to lately. So let's listen to one of Co Newborn's new singles. This is Slow Burn from her latest album.
Don't know how it will get better. You have patience with
You're tuned to Small Studio Signal Boost. You can find some of the music featured tonight by following our playlists. Just search for WFYI Music on Spotify. We are celebrating 10 years of small studio sessions, and tonight we're going to listen back to 2 sessions. Our first this evening is from Public Universal Friend. The band played our big studio in 2021. We moved from the small studio to the big studio due to COVID and concerns about air quality.
Yeah.
So I think our first session that we recorded in that big TV studio.
Yeah, it was our first session down there, and I remember it was crazy. Like, we had to bring the audio board from up here down there, and like we moved so many things around. We had to buy some more speakers because the room was so big the band couldn't hear themselves. Yeah, it was a whole ordeal, but it turned out so good. They were great, super top-notch songs, great musicians. Several small studio sessions alums are in this band, so it was really awesome to hear. I'm excited that we're re-releasing these, so if you check out our social media page, you can find a re-edited snippet of this session, and as always, you can find the full session at wfyi.org/smallstudio.
Yeah, and this excellent band has sort of relocated. Jody Friend has moved to Portland. So the band is sort of reorganizing in Portland, Oregon. But they're back here. They come back and play. So.
Yeah. Just recently, I think they had a show at the Hi-Fi.
Yeah, awesome. So we wish Jody Friend continued success and look forward to seeing more from Public Universal Friend. In this session, we'll hear songs as well as conversation with Jody Friend and Kyle Long.
watered it down to be easier to take. I've tried to fit myself into your margins. I am the gray in your black and white pages. Enumerated color, golden hour, baby, holding me tight in the moon. I am the ember, a light in the ashes. It's not been the summer, heather and the thistle coming out in winter. For too long, it's been on concern. For the sorry sake of comfort, gotta keep the camera rolling. But who am I reserving? Through your gaslight is a projection screen superimposed on me. A lie, a dark heart in me for my dawning day. I am the light coming through your window, dreaming remember till the morning dew. See your when I first started exploring my own gender identity, and I was studying the history and seeing if there were any people in the past that had maybe embodied some gender expansivity. That was one historical figure that I ran across again and again, especially one from a faith background, which was really something that was specific to my experience. So when I read about Public Universal Friend, I put it on my spreadsheet of band names. That was extensive, but that was the one that kept coming back, and especially one that was like, there was this beauty to the story of the friend that followed this narrative of subverting social roles within the church in order to love people better. And that's something that has been a theme in my life of growing up in the church and being trans, and sometimes those two worlds not coalescing. But I am a personal embodiment of that, that kind of pairing of worlds. And when I read the band name, after thinking about it for a while, I was convinced that it was the name for our band. And it was something that was a big charge to take, because I felt like I was living up to a historical figure's name and also changing the meaning of it with my band. But it feels right. This next song's called Firestarter.
Stay inside. when I was writing Perennials, it was a documentation of the last 3 years of my life before I came out and all the changes that took place, and trying to kind of smash together all these different parts of myself and integrate. And the more that manifested, the more I realized that there's a lot in my life that had to change in order for me to be in a place that was emotionally and physically healthy, and somewhere that was good for me. So, like, I guess when I was writing Perennials, I did not have in mind that I was going to come out. I thought it was going to be just kind of a story of angst, honestly. I didn't really have a point to it, but as like my life went on, and as like the recording of the album happened, there were some things like my life within my church fell apart. My marriage ended, and so much of my upbringing in the South, in light of what I was going through in the moment, was very much like a conditioning against so much of what I knew I needed to do in order to grow. So I had to have a reckoning with my past and with my understanding of God and like church and church people. And what I found in the end, not that I've become an expert only in my narrative, I suppose. Even then, I'm not an expert in my own narrative sometimes. But the beauty is that there is no dichotomy, and there is no separation of being a trans woman and being someone who believes in love and the power of the divine and the mysticism of the spiritual self. And I knew somewhere deep down that those worlds could coalesce and become one world. This next one's called Healer. Up the stairs, out this window, I've been staring out at the holy ocean.
and you were blacked out, stumbling in the room of a wounded healer. Open up those bedsides, it's been a troubled night. I just lay back and wonder why I'm wondering. I hope by your pathways that you die and live again. Die and live again. Die and live again. Die and live again. I think putting out the album required me coming out. So I made a post on social media in February, released the album in March, and I had been living as a gender nonconforming person for many years, and there was always something different about the way I presented myself and embodied my body. But it was a time where I knew that in order for the narrative of perennials to make sense, I would have to make a very clear statement and say, this is who I am, this is where I've been, this is where I'm going. And I will say that my life, nothing short of fell apart around that time. And I had to rethink all of my values and all of my priorities. And the beautiful thing is that once everything fell apart, I died. It was literally a death, and this identity that I lived under for 29 years was gone all of a sudden. And I changed my name legally, had a new band name, new album. There were community that magnetized themselves to me, and there were some that disappeared and some that chastised. And the ones that stuck around are the ones that were the real ones, the ones that love me for who I am. So it taught me a lot about authenticity and the power of that, but also the risk and the danger. And the reason I think it's worth it, and that is always my conclusion in the end, is that it's worth it because that's the only way that new life can happen, is when you're real. Coming here, the coast is clear.
That was Public Universal Friend from their 2021 small studio session. Coming up, we'll listen to Indianapolis-based musician Co Newborn from her 2016 small studio session. We'll be right back with that after the break on Small Studio Signal Boost. WFYI podcasts are brought to you by Visit Bloomington, Indiana, where Hoagie Carmichael, Booker T. Jones, and John Mellencamp impacted the city and helped it become a music destination. Bloomington is home to a variety of musical artists, live music venues, and hundreds of annual music events. More information at musicbloomington.com. This is Small Studio Signal Boost. Thanks for listening tonight. You can find the podcast edition of the show most places you get your podcasts or at wfyi.org/podcasts. I'm Melissa Davis, joined by Adam Gross, and we are celebrating 10 years of small studio sessions by listening back to some of our sessions tonight. Indianapolis-based musician Co Newborn visited the small studio in 2016, back when she was living in Chicago. We're so glad that she's back in Indy and making new music. A bit earlier, we heard one of her newer songs. She is so talented. I mean, I don't think it's a secret on the show that I'm a big Co fan.
Yeah, I think you wear that one on your sleeve, Melissa.
I saw Co for the first time as part of Sloth Pop at Record Store Day, and it must have been like 2010, 2012, when I think Co was just starting out in Sloth Pop. I was mesmerized. I'm like, this music is so cool. This band is awesome. And my fandom has just grown from there.
Yeah, I mean, Sloth Pop was great. I felt the same way when I saw them for the first time. And they got a lot of traction, both in Indianapolis and around the country. They toured quite a bit in that band. They played some really big shows in town. They released a record. I think you can find that if you search for Sloth Pop. It's great stuff. And since then, Co's kind of done several reiterations of Co Newborn now, playing with different musicians, sometimes solo, but it's always really good.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the best. I mean, really, I love all of their sessions, truly, but I just feel like this session really captures the spirit of Co Newborn at a time when her music was changing a bit, and I just like what we captured here. So let's listen back to Co Newborn's small studio session from 2016, 9 years ago. Here on Small Studio Signal Boost.
Wide shot is rolling.
Hi, we're Co. This first song is called I Can't.
Sleep anymore, all I do is dream.
someone else. And all these pretty people, I wish that I could have them. You never caught my interest, you never caught me. And all these pretty people, I wish that I could have them. You never caught my interest, you never caught me. All this back and forth, wasting our time. I tried to convince myself that it was all in my head. And all these pretty people, I wish that I could have them. You never caught my interest, you never caught me. And all these pretty people, I wish that I could have them. You never caught my interest, you never caught me.
That's Co Newborn from her 2016 small studio session. We are celebrating 10 years of the series, and you can find these re-released sessions on our social media. Just look for WFYI Indianapolis on Instagram and WFYI on Facebook. You can find lots of great content there celebrating the series. So stay tuned, and also thanks for supporting us. Programs like Small Studio exist because of your support. That's at WFYI.org/give. And after you give, enjoy music at WFYI.org/smallstudio.
That's right. Yeah. Enjoy listening and watching.
Yes, good times. You're listening to Small Studio Signal Boost. I'm Melissa Davis with co-host Adam Gross. So Adam, what's happening in the world of live music?
I've got a couple shows coming up. This coming Wednesday, July 2nd, you can see the local supergroup Dandelion Blue at the Jazz Kitchen. The group is comprised of Rebecca Kay from Mother the Band and Mina Cohane from just about every band, both artists who I've had on this show before, so check out those interviews on the Small Studio Signal Boost podcast. Plus, the band has Sadie Johnson, Caitlin Ferry, Clara Blackwell, and Colin Oakley. That's Wednesday, July 2nd at the Jazz Kitchen. And sneak peek, we might be having the band in here to record some songs soon. Yeah. So super excited about that. And then Saturday, July 19th, two legendary Indiana bands are playing a reunion show at the Hi-Fi in Fountain Square, Uvula and the United States 3. The United States 3 is fronted by Wes Rutenberg, who we've had here for the last 4 small studio session and his own small studio session. And Uvula, I hadn't heard before, but when I had Eric Weddle on the show giving his top 5, this was one of the bands he played, and he only had wonderful things to say about them. So I'm sure this will be a good one. They'll be joined by newer indie artist Connor McLaren. He's had a lot of success too, so this is going to be a fun show to see. That's Saturday, July 19th at the Hi-Fi in Fountain Square.
Cool. And I think while you're at the Hi-Fi, just stay there on Friday and stay there Saturday. Because on Friday, the Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band is playing.
Hey.
At Hi-Fi Annex, outdoors and all ages. So everyone can go. Friday, July 18th, the Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band at Hi-Fi Annex. Great to see the Rev and Breezy back in town. About a week before that, Wednesday, July 9th at Eagle Creek Park, it's part of the park's summer concert series with Jazz at the Beach, featuring jazz saxophonist Ron Jones. Jazz at the Beach begins at 6:30 on Wednesday, July 9th. That's the latest in Indiana music. Be sure to follow your favorite artists on social media for updates and info. This is Small Studio Signal Boost. Adam Gross and Roxana Caldwell created our show. This episode was produced by Adam Gross and me, Melissa Davis. You can check out the podcast edition of the show most places you get your podcasts or at WFYI.org. Thanks for listening tonight, and thanks for your continued support of public media. A friendly reminder that you can join in membership anytime at WFYI.org/give or at WBAA.org/give. We truly appreciate your support. Thank you. And we are at our last song of the night. Adam, what do we have?
This one has a little bit of a story. So last week I went and saw Deerhoof at Indianapolis Venue Healer. It was a great show. I got there and my friend Chuck was there, who lives in Bloomington. And I was surprised to see him. And he said, "We just played." I had no idea they were supposed to play the show. And apparently neither did they. So there was no opening band. And I guess Deerhoof, before the show started, they were talking to a group of people. And they said, "One of you has to be a musician. Does anyone want to open?"
Oh my God.
So Chuck and his bandmate, it's a duo, they were there and they decided to play. And I missed it, which is such a bummer. But I found out that this band existed and went and listened to it on Bandcamp and was blown away. So I want to play one of these songs tonight. This is Bloomington's A. Aardvark with Shell Game from their new album Proof of Concept. Have a great night.
WFYI podcasts are brought to you by Indy Softwater, performing service and repairs on over 30 brands of water systems, plus iron and well filtration systems for residential and commercial properties. Includes water tests conducted on site, providing real-time information about the water quality. The softest, cleanest water begins with Indy Softwater. More at indysoftwater.com.